have a book today that you have at your house too. Curious George Flies a Kite. If you want to follow along, stop the tape, get your book, and then come back and we'll read together. This is George. He lives in the house of the man with the yellow hat. George is a little monkey, and all monkeys are curious, but no monkey is as curious as George. That's why his name is Curious George. I have to go out now, said the man with the yellow hat. Be a good little monkey till I come back. Have fun and play with your ball, but do not be too curious. And the man went out. I think we both know what George is going to do while the man is gone. It was a lot of fun for George to play with his big new ball. The ball went up and George went up. The ball went down and George went down. George could do a lot of tricks with his ball too. This was one of the tricks. He could get up on the ball like this. Or he could do it this way with his head down. This was another trick George could do. He could hold the ball in his head like this. Look, no hands. What a good trick. But where did the ball go? Did I skip a page? George ran after it. The ball had gone into another room. There was a big window in the room. George liked to look out of that window. He could see a lot from there. He let the ball go and he looked out. George could see Bill on his bike with the lake with a boat on it. George could see a big house in a little garden and a little house in the big garden. The big house was where Bill lived. But who lived in that little house? George was curious. Who could live in a house that was so little? George had to find out. So he went to the big garden. The garden had a high wall, but not too high for a monkey. George got up on the wall. All he had to do now was jump down. So George jumped down into the big garden. Now he could take a good look at the little house. What did he see? A big white bunny with a lot of little bunnies. George looked and looked and looked. Bunnies were something new to him. How funny they were. The big bunny was Mother Bunny. She was as big as George, but the little bunnies were so little that George could hold one of them in his hand, and that is just what he wanted to do. Uh-oh. How could he get a bunny out of the house? The house must have a door to get in and get out. Where was the door? There it was. George put in his hand and took out a baby bunny. What fun it was to hold a baby bunny. And the bunny did not mind. It sat in his hand, one ear up and one ear down, and looked at George. And George looked back at it. Now he and the bunny could play in the garden. They could play a game. They could play Get the Bunny. George would let the bunny hop away, and then he would run after it and get it back. George put the bunny down, and then he looked away. 1, 2, run! The bunny took off like a shot. George did not look. Now he had to wait a little. 1, 2, 3, 4. He waited. Then George looked up. Where was the bunny? He could not see it. Where was it? Where had it gone? George looked for it here and he looked for it there and he could not find it. Where was the bunny? It could not get out of the garden. It could not get up the wall the way George could. It could not fly away. It had to be here. But it wasn't. The bunny was gone, and all the fun was gone too. George sat down. He had been a bad little monkey. Why was he curious? Why did he let the bunny go? Now he could not put it back into the bunny house where it could be with Mother Bunny. Mother Bunny. George looked up. Mother Bunny. That was it. Mother Bunny could help. George got up. He had to have some string. Maybe there was some in the garden. Yeah, there was a string, and a good one too. George took the string and went back to the bunny house. Mother Bunny was at the door. George let her out and put the string on her. Mother Bunny knew just what to do. Away she went with her head down and her ears up. All George could do was hold the string and run after her. And then Mother Bunny sat down. She saw something, and George saw it too. Something white that looked like a tail, like the tail of the baby bunny. And that's what it was. But where was the rest of the bunny? It was down in a hole. Bunnies like to dig holes and then go down and live in them. But this bunny was too little. It should live in a bunny house. So George got hold of the little white tail and pulled the baby bunny out. Then they all ran back to the bunny house. George did not have to put a string on the baby bunny. It ran after its mother all the way home. George took the string off Mother Bunny and helped them back into the house. Then Mother Bunny and all the little ones lay down to sleep. George looked at them. It was good to see the baby bunny back where it should be. And now George would go back to where he should be. When he came to the wall, he saw something funny in back of it. George got up on the wall to see what it was. And that will be our next adventure. Stay tuned. Night-night, guys.